Hello friends, today I'm working with two houses from the Dollar Tree, a craft stick, a little wooden round, some old rusty nails. So I have this Tim Holtz stencil that I got from Amazon, and I'm going to use the Master's Touch modeling paste. And I'm going to add some texture to these little wooden houses. I wanted to make them look old, and I just put it on there randomly to kind of make it look like, some of the siding had been falling off and some was still on there. And I'm going to dry that, get that modeling paste good and dry. Like I said, I just kind of put it on there randomly. I didn't want it all to cover the whole thing. So now I'm painting. I have the home decor chalk paint in the color sheepskin, and I'm going to paint both houses all over, making sure I get down in all those cracks and crevices of the where I put the modeling paste. I'm going to dry that up. Now, I did already paint the inside of these houses. I don't know if you're familiar with these little houses. You get them at the Dollar Tree. They have bright paper on the inside, which is actually the front side. I'm using the back of the house, and I wanted to cover that up. So I did paint it with the same color sheepskin. I put 2 coats on there to cover that up. So now I've got my gator sander, and I'm sanding these up to give them some distressing. Cleaning them all off. Get all that dust from sanding them off. I had a little spot that was still wet. And as you can see, I'm going to stack them together. We're going to make a little church. So I'm using my bare wax and adding a little more distressing to them. Now you would not have to do this. You could paint them any way you would like, leave them fancy. You wouldn't need to give them any distressing or any wax. You could paint them up however you like. I just like that old vintage look. So the little wooden round I must have edited that out, but I did paint it in the color Crazy Crow, and it's a chalk paint from Nicole with a Frayed Knot. And the craft stick, I just stained it in Minwax Dark Walnut Stain. And I'm using my Tight Bond Speed Set glue to glue those down. And then I'm also going to use it to glue the 2 pieces together. And that's what's going to form our church. Okay, so I have these rusty nails, and as you can see, I glued them together to form a cross. And when I laid it on there, I decided it looked too big. So I took it apart and looked through my bag of rusty nails to find one that was shorter. And the way I made the cross was I took 3 of them, and 2 for the horizontal piece, I glued 2 rusty nails together. And then I got 1 vertical piece that's just 1 little rusty nail. And I glued them all together using this B7000. So I like that much better. It wasn't quite as tall. And I'm going to use that same B7000, and I'm going to glue it to the top of the church. See. Now I didn't really like that where you could see that where I glued that at the top. So I have some seam binding, and I'm going to get my Bodabra, and I'm going to make a little bow to cover that. Plus it kind of dresses my little church up. You know, sometimes you just got to have a bow. And like I said, I don't know if you can still get these little houses or not. I found them a few years back at Dollar Tree. You can go check it out. I have not looked for them in a while, so hopefully you can track some down. So there's my bow. I'm going to get it tied up and fluffed out. And I'll add it to the church. Just something real simple, nothing fancy. So I'm going to glue it right there at the top. And then I'm going to get a little button, and we'll put a button in the center. Now I decided afterwards I wanted to add a little tag, so you'll see the picture at the end where I added a little tag that says faith. And trim my bow up. Oh, I like that. I also added some more wax afterwards. I didn't during this video, but I also afterwards thought it needed a little more wax on there, so I did kind of give it more wax to give it a little more distressing. So here's my button. I'm going to add the button in the center of my bow, and there it is, my cute little church. So simple, so quick, inexpensive. I thought it turned out really sweet. This is Robin with Zimmies Simple Designs. Thank you for watching.